You know, the story of the Gilgo Beach murders, it doesn't actually start on that desolate highway. Nope, it starts right here, inside a computer, with a single digital file. Prosecutors are calling it a killer's blueprint, and believe me, it laid the entire horrifying plan bare. Welcome to The Explainer.
So, forensic analysts are digging through a suspect's hard drive, and they find this, a deleted file. It was hidden away in what's called unallocated space. Think of it like a computer's digital graveyard. And this file, titled HK 2002-04, well, it wasn't just some random text. Prosecutors believe it was a literal step-by-step blueprint for murder.
And get this wasn't some rambling, crazed manifesto. It was structured like a business project plan. Seriously, it was broken down into these 3 clean phases. Pre-prep, that's for the planning. Prep, for the act itself. And post-event, which was all about the cleanup and getting away clean. It's a terrifyingly clear window into the mind of a cold, calculated planner.
Okay, so this document is a bombshell, right? It shows the killer's whole process. But that brings up the big question. How did law enforcement ever connect these digital words to the real-world horror, to actual bodies found along a lonely stretch of beach on Long Island? How did they even get here?
It's pretty remarkable, actually. This entire decade-long horror story, it was all kicked off by the search for just one missing person.
So let's rewind to May 2010. A young woman, Shannan Gilbert, disappears in this tiny community called Oak Beach, out on Long Island. Her vanishing act sparks this massive search that just goes on for months. And honestly, the police had almost nothing to go on.
Okay, a month goes by and the case gets handed to this duo, Suffolk County officer John Malia and his canine partner, a German shepherd named Blue. And you're going to want to remember them because they were the team that finally blew this whole thing wide open.
So after months of hitting dead ends, the search moves. And picture this, they're now on a bleak, windswept highway in the dead of winter. This spot, this would become the site of a discovery that changed everything.
All right. It's December 11th, 2010. Officer Malia and his dog Blue are working their way along Ocean Parkway. And this is no walk in the park. We are talking thick, dense brush that's almost impossible to get through. It's full of thorns, there's a light snow on the ground. I mean, it is a truly desolate place.
So you have to wonder, why this spot? Why this brutal stretch of land? Well, it wasn't just a random guess. Officer Malia was being methodical. He was relying on good old-fashioned police work, specifically FBI data that shows, time and again, that dumped bodies are often found near roadways.
And that logic? It paid off big time. Suddenly, Blue alerts. He's got a scent. Malia follows him pushing through that dense brush, and then he sees it. A truly shocking discovery. The skeletal remains of a woman, wrapped up in what was left of some burlap. Her name was Melissa Bartholomew.
And from that moment, the case just exploded. Finding one body led to finding 3 more, just 2 days later, all of them within 500 feet of each other. In a matter of days, a search for one missing person became a hunt for the person who killed 4 women.
These women would become known to the public as the Gilgo Four, and it's so important that we remember their names. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. Finding them was the horrifying confirmation police needed. They had a serial killer on their hand.
But the horror, it didn't stop there, not even close. The search kept going, and by April of the next year, they had found 6 more sets of remains along that same stretch of Ocean Parkway. Think about that. One single dumping ground was holding the secrets to at least 10 murders.
Okay, so how in the world does this grim discovery on a cold beach connect back to that meticulous planning document we started with? Well, this is the exact moment where the digital evidence and the physical evidence collide. This right here, this is where it gets absolutely chilling. Take a look. The planning document has a section DS, which almost certainly means dump site, and it lists DS-1 Mill Road. Now check this out. Years earlier, the torsos of 2 other victims, Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack, had been found, you guessed it, near Mill Road in a town called Manorville. The killer's plan was a perfect match for a real-world crime scene. And it gets even more specific, even more horrifying. The plan had instructions for, and I'm quoting here, body prep. It included notes about removing heads, hands, anything that could identify a person. The terrible reality? The rest of the remains of Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack, their skulls and their hands, were found later,
discarded along Ocean Parkway, the very same place as the Gilgo Four. The plan wasn't just a plan, it was being executed, piece by piece.
So let's dive a little deeper into this killer's checklist, because you really need to see the sheer level of methodical detail we're talking about here.
Right there, under the heading Problems, it's basically a list of every tool investigators use to catch killers. This person was actively thinking about how to defeat forensic science, how to avoid leaving DNA, tire marks, fingerprints, hair, fibers. It's like he was studying law enforcement just as much as they would one day be studying him.
And then you see this, under supplies. It's a horrifying shopping list. A murder kit. Rope, cutting tools, tarps, gloves, bags. Every single item on this list was chosen for a specific, sinister reason. This tells you right away, these were not crimes of passion. This was a premeditated, fully equipped operation.
And like we saw, it's all broken down into these cold, business-like phases. Phase 1, pre-prep, involves scouting the dump sites. Phase 2, prep, meant setting up a holding area. And Phase 3, post-event, was all about the cover-up, destroying evidence, right down to deleting this very file and changing the tires on a vehicle.
The level of detail here is just staggering. It wasn't just find a place to dump a body. No, it was specific. Recon DS1, locate DS2, and maybe the most chilling part, recon vid cams. He was actively scouting for surveillance cameras, trying to find the blind spots in the system.
So when you put all these pieces together, what are you left with? You have this terrifyingly detailed guide. It is a literal to-do list for how to commit murder and then systematically erase every single trace that could ever lead back to you. It's nothing less than a manual for the perfect crime.
And that's how it all comes full circle. You have a police officer and his dog just doing their jobs, searching for one missing woman. And in doing so, they stumble upon a serial killer's graveyard. And then, years later, this little digital file reveals the horrifying, step-by-step thinking that made it all happen.
It really leaves you with this one deeply unsettling thought. When you see a blueprint for murder that's organized like a business plan, you have to ask yourself, where does pure evil end, and where does this kind of meticulous, horrifying planning even begin? Is there a difference?